see my ugly mug. Too dark anyway. Oh shit. I don't know, do I cut those out? I think the edits are cool, or no edits are the best way to go. So, Extinction Burst, right? Think of it an animal, your dog, you know, when you're not doing something it expects and the behavior increases, or a baby, your child. The terrible twos, right? It's because you were probably doing too much. And then by the time they're too old for that, and you take it away, well, what do you expect is going to happen? Right? Baby's going to throw a tantrum because every book probably said, do all this beforehand. And then everybody did, and it was passed down socially. And you see, that's how the conditioning happens. Self-appointed guardians of the status quo. We all become it. We all even know it. And we all hate it. Why do we persist in that state when we know nature, community, self, our connection to God, whatever it is, it's all personal relationship. Don't force shit on anybody. Allow people to be. Anyway, so some terms that we're going to talk about. Extinction Burst. What I just described. Operant conditioning. This is different than respondent conditioning, although they will make an appearance together here, because they're both important. Operant conditioning is behavior that is evoked. You evoke a behavior based on an environment. Generally, that's how it's used. Casinos, right? The algorithm. And then reflexive or respondent conditioning is elicited. It is Pavlov's dogs, right? They see the white lab coat or the dinner bell ring, and then they salivate. So, conditioned withdrawal, our behavioral tolerance. I know this one well. This is when drug users use in the same environment, which is conditioned withdrawal, or they use in a different environment the same amount, but in the different environment they will overdose and die at a very significantly and statistically significant rate. It was a lot. The same amount would kill over half, I believe. And so in the environment they're used to, the effect actually drops, because what happens is the environment signals your brain like, oh, we're in the bathroom, we always do the dope, and he's about to put that shit in his arm, and we're gonna pass out. So let's get the guys rolling. Whatever's gonna counteract that. Which it's a poor attempt with some potent drugs, right? That doesn't happen in a different environment. There's different cues. That's why people overdose. We're gonna talk about predictive processing. And also the nervous system that never forgets, okay? So, there's a couple people I have to thank. Let's see here. So first, Patty. Thank you for holding the space and seeing many sides and facets of this, the latent personality that is now without fear. It was bold. It's the first time I've seen myself do anything like that. I knew you liked it. It took me a minute, because I was reading the words and in between the lines in the liminal space, right? In the audio, in the video. Took me a minute to Well, because I don't know what a relationship is. How does this shit work? It was a couple nights ago. An aha moment. I was like, oh, well, her wounds, all the same, they affect it deeper and differently. And everybody's an individual. So she was reflecting something back to me. I'm not outright saying it, whereas I was overtly saying it because I could for the first time, because I had a fucking voice for the first time with no fear for the first time. So, the reservation, that she's not there, so she was telling it in a way that she knew how to, which was that, she first of all, she held the space, right? She witnessed me and recognized herself in me, my pain, and whatever it was in her way. I don't know all of it yet, but and likewise, right? I saw the same in me, same feeling. But it's the betrayal, the loneliness for me. It was partly like what fueled that. Bold ass strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out for him. Anyway, hers and most women's is betrayal. And while men, that first betrayal, even the second one, it cuts and it takes us a while to recover. Especially when we thought we were in love and that was our soulmate. Even though they treated us like shit. And, hey, we did it right back. But we also didn't maybe draw necessary boundaries for ourselves. So we lost self-respect, but we allowed that. That's the betrayal, the loneliness over a lifetime of betrayal. It's not, you go inward and cut people out, so it's becomes second nature. It's easy. It becomes easier. Betrayal, different beast, different biologies too, right? With women, and while they may seem to get over it initially quicker, and in fact do, according to the research, a lifetime of dealing with betrayal has a much more pronounced effect on them. And on this case, Patty. And I didn't even have to read the fucking science to see that. She showed me that. Well, she did, and I was able to see it. Because I'm aware, and while I'm a lot, I know when to shut the fuck up and receive the information, And we haven't communicated during our independence extinction burst. So I finally said that to her just a little bit ago, after I realized what the fuck was going on in its entirety. So I knew I had an idea Extinction Burst was happening to me at certain points. That's what it is. At least we're on the same wavelength. At least that's what I think. Like I said, this is all experiment panning out in real time. So I'll update you. And then also to Dizzy D. We're also going through some Extinction Burst too, right? Denied access to old reinforcers. New perspectives take hold. And something happens. Back in an old situation. Same behaviors come up. Conscious even of it this time. And we have a choice all the time, right? Sometimes we make good ones, sometimes not so much. Ones that we regret. It's okay, it's human, it's part of the process. These things still have to come out. That's, us doing the shit that we hate is still that subconscious shit coming out. And you ask yourself, why the fuck did I do that? I thought I dealt with that. Well, no, obviously. So this is the paradox, right? I'm a man who wants to live and thrive while simultaneously withering and dying. all at once, same chest, same breath. Like, I don't want to die, but I want the version of me that suffered here to finally be allowed to die. You know, when I first went about it, I was taking an axe to my skin, you know. Now it's more surgical, and not even surgical. I just peel it off like dead skin. Burn them in the sun. Not self-elimination. Just shedding, molting. Cocooning. Cracking out. Doing it all over again. Let's talk about those empaths and light workers and all the ones that seem to be on everybody's mind. In certain places, way more than I probably am even aware of, and that's good places, the neutral, and the not so good places. But good and evil, that's all moral distinctions, and in biology, morality does not exist. This is a construct of control and the system. It's not our beliefs. The social etiquette, the unwritten laws are not ours. It's not the way we want to behave. The platitudes and pleasantries, all lies. Everything's a fucking lie. Sick of it. I don't do it. I catch myself every time I do. I might miss some. I could use the feedback. To be proven and shown that you are wrong is to be celebrated. Don't ever forget that, people. If somebody has clear-cut evidence or a case that you were wrong or that your idea was wrong, you congratulate that person for raising your fucking awareness. And you celebrate him, and you celebrate the fact that together, because maybe that person wouldn't have put the two things together instead of being, butthurt. Celebrate it. Anyway, back to the empaths, and the light workers, star seeds, and that chosen one or ones, right? Most people say chosen one. How many chosen ones are in the comments of these YouTube videos? I wonder. I fucking wonder. And how many of them haven't done shit? Now, there might be one or two in there that have actually done something, but it just, maybe they're an empath and they're thinking the same way I am. Why the fuck? I've already tried to tell people. Like, you got it. You got what you need right here. At least part of it. You could use a hand. But also it's a test, too. It's the initiation, right? That's what the ancestors say, anyway. You gotta pass some tests. You gotta know you have to know you're worthy of it. They already know. That's why they're all fucking behind your back. And that's why they sent the fucking Jester to teach you some shit. To sharpen that blade of a tongue you got. Anyway. Here's the thing. All are chosen. You are all children of God. Few. And I haven't seen one singular person. I've seen a few people do what they can do. Doing the work. So you become chosen by walking the path, not by typing, I am chosen, in a YouTube comment section. You don't do it by just living in the light and avoiding the dark either. I hear this all the time. If you're in a bad space, just think positive thoughts and meditate. You're avoiding half of the human experience right there. So shut up. Don't listen to these people. Shut up. if you're an empath and you're listening to these people that are telling you to do something like avoid something that's that important in your life, the pain, right? Because transmuting the pain was the hardest and also most freeing thing you've ever done. So it's a minimization of you, and it's also a reflection of them. And that's sad that they won't seek their own darkness the way we did. You see, we meet our darkness wherever it goes. Some pretty dark places, maybe by society standards. Nothing terrible. Nothing you'd want to share necessarily, but that's what this channel's about. We're not going to get into it yet, but some embarrassing fucking shit there. Some dark shit. But you know what? On the way back, after you've been there, you've been to the great places and you know your light and how bright it is, and how others consciously or maliciously, physically or energetically, try to steal it and suck it. And you used to give it so freely. Now you realize how fucking precious that is. You say, ah, no, motherfucker. I have boundaries now. Spiritual and physical. So, light workers. There is no such thing as a light worker as it exists. This is not even a term that is in the ancient texts. But there are light beings that are healers. Right? But a light worker on this earth is just an empath who signed a contract that they forgot immediately upon birth. So they're in the shit with the empaths and starseeds too. So the light workers that actually exist, the ones that people talk about as beings of light, colors of the chakra, rainbows. If you see them, they do an extra healing on you after you've done the hard work. Done that hard inner work. It will come, especially if you're asking. Now, I wasn't even asking specifically. This just happened. Reach into my chest, and my solar plexus, stomach, my head. Sometimes two at a time, sometimes one. I felt every fucking one. Heal. Unexplainable. Don't need to explain it. I remember sitting on the beach. Had an inkling to put the left ear to the sand, right ear to the sky. When I did that, I was in this bubble where it was just like, I felt the water. I was part of the water. And I don't know if there's something that's on the surface there is a little different. Whatever. Sun, one side, the other. Just let the mind do some crazy shit. So before I even knew I really could do that, I had no fucking idea. That's what that day was about. Mine got, I got tuned up that day, let's just say. So a light worker in human form, I think that's like a bridge, like a Hierophant, right? Interpreter of sorts. Not a healer, but a translator, or someone that translates that healing of the light worker just by their presence. That's what I think it is. I don't fucking know. I'm talking out my ass here. This is not in the science section that I will be linking all the sources down below. Anyway, before we go, I got 2 minutes before this thing fucking... I gotta delete some videos and upload some first, though. Anyway, the gutter. My videos. I went to the gutter on the camping trip. God does not live on the mountaintop. God lives in the gutter. The homeless shelter, the NA meeting, the AA meeting, the railroad tracks, truck stops, the ghetto, attics, broken, discarded. And you know what? The gutter is also the working class and little better neighbors all the way up to the suburbs. And you know what the working class is also? You assholes in your $1 or $3 million homes. Your upper middle class, you're still the bottom of the barrel to those in power. Remember that. Welcome to the club. It's beautiful down here. So, 8 billion of us, right? How many? And here's the thing. We all have more faith and more enlightened souls than any of those making the big bucks, selling courses, and posting links to books. Here's the thing, it pisses me off. This is a true story before I go. I paid for an event. It wasn't anything to do with this type of stuff. But it was on alchemy and doing inner work, unbeknownst to me. Cool little creation story. Maybe I'll throw that on here later. But anyway, I was very active in that chat. I asked a dude who, his pretentious comment, I don't even know who the dude is. He could be, a millionaire himself. I don't give a shit. He said, this is my last lifetime on Earth. And me, going through some shit and doing a lot of healing on my own. It's like, I'm gonna add a spot right now. You use a little word or a little guidance, He didn't even ask me how deep. He was just like, there's a book on Amazon. I don't know if it was his or whose, but I was just like, motherfucker. I laughed. I was like, these people, every fucking time I ever asked anybody for help, that's the shit you get. So, fuck you guys. Seriously. But I get it. You gotta work within the fucking system. However, what if you didn't? And you could trade other stuff. Oh, they want to tax that too. But when they trade, what can't they tax? Let's think about that. Ideas. There's probably things they can't tax. Why don't we trade in that? And sell it back to them at a markup. I don't know. Just spitballing. Later. I guess that's part 2. Enjoy the sunset.